Hey yo, welcome to the first ever episode of the Arts Block podcast. This is a podcast for artists by artists, so we can talk about anything that we want and desire. Today, I have a very special guest, a very amazing artist, a very close friend of mine, a very good friend of mine. Give it up for Moyo Ifafore, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello, my name is Moyo Ifafore. As of recording this podcast, I am currently 15 years old, a student at Duke Ellington of the School of the Arts in the theater department, and I do more than just act. I write. I'm interested in directing things. I sing. I'm trying to learn how to dance. I play the saxophone. Name it. I'll probably learn how to do it, or I'm interested in doing it. So.
And her parents are also business owners, ladies and gentlemen. She didn't want
Yes.
to mention that, but she comes from black-owned business blood.
Yes, if you want to support an excellent Black-owned business with high quality and high standards, my parents, my family, we are the place to come to.
I need hair products, Moya. I'm running out,
Yeah.
so
Mm.
I'm gonna be calling you about that
Yeah, yeah. We deliver. We
outside
deliver.
of the podcast. But um, thank you for coming on the podcast. You're my first guest. I was
No?
struggling trying to figure out who my first guest was going to be. I was picking between people. Then I had this conversation with you a while back, and that I thought of, and I was like, Moya, this is a great first episode.
I'm honored. Thank you.
No problem. But I want to talk to you about your parents' business. Your
Okay.
parents have a black-owned business, it's
Yes.
black-owned, and how is it being like the child of parents that really own a 100% black-owned business? Because I
Right.
know it's like a lot of businesses out here, like BET, it's Black Entertainment Television, but it's ran by white men, by white investors. That's why we always see Friday and Baby Boy on the TV, like on BET. So how does it, like, what does it feel like? What does it take? Like, and what is like the pressure that you feel being
Well,
like,
I mean, just growing up, for my family at least, a lot of the time, like a lot of, because I'm Nigerian, so a lot of Nigerian people like to make this joke about like how our parents are strict, et cetera, et cetera. We always got to be the best in our class. You have to be number one, got to be a lawyer, doctor, whatever, that type
mm-hmm,
of. And like to some extent that is true. Obviously, like my parents aren't concerned about me, like my career path, because they have faith in me and they love me. So, you know, that's great. It's not that, but they do still have high standards for me. And we are a very hardworking family. And I think a lot of people who are interested in being part of a Black owned business or want to own a Black owned business and talk a lot about having a Black owned business don't realize how much work goes into having a business, period. Because like um there's just so much work that goes into it. Like when I was, because we opened this beauty supply, we're called Ida's Beauty Supply, named after my mother. That we first established ourselves when I was about 3, so 2008, in the middle of an economic recession. So
as
not
y'all should,
not
as y'all should.
not the greatest time to be starting a business exactly, but here we are. We survived the pandemic and we're gonna keep pushing through. And I just remember like times where like we'd be in the store because this is our second building actually. So we moved here quite a like maybe like uh I forgot how long ago, but we moved here and remember when we were trying to open this place up, and even sometimes like right now, I'd go to bed in the store. I'd go to bed in the store and I'd wake up in time to go to school because we had to put products away. We had to make sure the store was presentable because we're trying to make sure that not only are we like sustaining ourselves as a family, as a business, but we're also trying to give the best quality service to our customers. So, sometimes we like get huge shipments in and like we have to have everything put away because you can't have boxes in the middle of the store. You have to sort everything out.
That's
That
ghetto.
Yeah, it's ghetto, and
That's
we are
ghetto.
not. we are we are not ghetto. So we work together as a family, like me, my sister, my mom, my dad, we're all putting in all of this work so that we can have a sustainable business. And I don't think a lot of people realize,
Mhm.
it's not just, hey, I have this stuff, I want to sell it. You have to organize the shelves in a specific way. You have to make the store accessible for different types of customers. You have to develop a sense of patience for certain people.
Wait, so has that like so has like all of this stuff has this like developed a future entrepreneur into like creating something huge and creating a company of your own? Has this like
You know, um, Well, I definitely can say that I do have an entrepreneurial spirit. I don't know if I'm necessarily, I mean, if I want to, I definitely can. Like, I know that if I want to own a business or create a business, I mean, I technically already own a business. This is our family business. But if I want to do something like that, then yes, I know that I can. I know that I have the knowledge, the understanding to do so. But I mean, it's not necessarily what I see myself doing in the future. But, there are so many things that can happen in the future. This life is short, but also long, and there's so many different things that I'm probably going to end up doing. So, yeah.
and your parents are really cool. And I say that for one reason and one reason only. You're from New York. You go to Duke Ellington School of the Arts, which is in DC. Your
Yes.
family had to pack up and move basically everything for
Yes.
your career. So how was that? How was that conversation? How was that like how did you get
Yeah,
here?
I I'm still in awe myself because that's a lot of sacrifice for my parents that I really wasn't even expecting myself. Like I wasn't to be honest, they're the ones who found the school for me. I didn't find the school myself. So they introduced me to it and they were like, "You should go here because this school looks good. You look at the alumni, you look at everything." So I have like because growing up in New York, like you live right next. Growing up in upstate New York, and the thing about New York is that upstate is like anywhere that's not the city. So I live an hour away from the city, but that's not upstate. There's like more upstate. But I grew up next to the city, and I really wanted to go to LaGuardia or I wanted to go to LaGuardia initially, and then like I didn't even get the chance to audition because for some reason, um, like people who don't live in the city can't even audition for the school, which doesn't make sense to me because I live in the same state and we pay the same taxes. But besides that, I was really upset about that because I really wanted to go to art school. Like theater has always been my passion, like learning how to act, learning how to perform, etc., has really been something that's been part of my life since I was a child. So I was really upset about that. My parents were like, "Okay, cool, that sucks. We could move to the city and try to get you in there before that, or we could just figure it out." And so they went to DC. I think they went to DC because they wanted to show my aunt had come from Nigeria, so they wanted to take her to DC, show her the nation's capital, blah 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 blah. And they were
I
like,
hate when people do that. That
right?
gets on my nerves.
Oh my gosh, it's so different now that I live here.
Hate
Yeah, it's so different now that I live here. My understanding, because when people come to visit the nation's capital, they forget that people live here, and it's annoying. Um,
so stupid.
right,
I really doubt it, but if anybody is listening to this first episode and is like listening from like Wisconsin, don't come to DC thinking that it's thinking that it's like don't do it. You'll be highly disappointed.
oh my god, no. So so they found the school. They were like, yeah, we'll go for an open house and check it out, see if you like it. And Dooku was cool in the fact that like, you can live technically outside of the state bounds and go to school here. You have to pay tuition, but you can still go to school here. Um and so I got here, I went to the first open house. I went to the open house in January. I missed school and it was so worth it because like I just like I saw the performances, and it was mind blowing. Like I saw myself doing amazing things because I was in a place where I got to learn my craft, and it hadn't even dawned on me yet. But just being in a space full of Black excellence, like being where I come from in upstate New York, there are so many. No offense to all of my friends from upstate New York, I love y'all, but all of you are white, and it's like I don't see, I don't see
Hey
enough of.
yo,
I don't I don't see enough of myself. I don't see enough of the people who like understand this particular like struggle of mine.
yeah,
In that environment. So going to a school full of people who look like me, who like the things I do, is special to me because it's people who are also like very invested in pursuing it as a career. So finding this school was amazing, and then eventually like, the audition process was something else. Shout out to my mom because she like had like all of her points saved up for this like hotel thing. So when because we didn't live here when I was auditioning, so I'd have to drive down. We'd have to drive down. It was like 6 hours. Then we get to the hotel. I remember because the audition was the day before my birthday. The audition was on my birthday, so we drove down that Friday.
wait, was it?
Yeah, the audition was on my birthday. Um,
Oh shit.
Yeah. So I drove down. We drove down. We got to a hotel. I went to bed. I woke up. It was my birthday. I was really hyped. And we had to like, my mom had like cleared out the entire week. But like part of me was like, what if we book this entire week here and I don't get called back for an audition? Cuz like yeah, like the Saturday audition is a Saturday audition, but you get your callback information on Sunday. So we could have cleared out an entire week, and I don't end up coming back, but I did, and we just had to like keep, it was because like the audition process is specifically crafted for people who live in the area, you know, which is not a problem because that just makes sense, but our family had to keep ourselves on its toes. Like, I remember sometimes I'd have like a math test the next day, and I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna take this math test next week. Thank you so much, Miss Meyer. But I have to go because I have to go to an open house or an audition or something. Um, yeah, and it was just a balance of keeping my schoolwork together, keeping the family business open, et cetera, and trying to get into this school first.
And it's hard because like you never know when you was going to get called back, and that was like
But
the most frustrating part about it all. But you, especially what really like caught me was like you did it though. Like you did it. Like you stayed in a hotel for a week. You just pushed through it. But let's
yeah,
fast forward. Let's fast forward. You
that's
went
for
through your first year at Duke Ellington School of the Arts, right? How was it? Give us a brief synopsis of how that was for you.
a brief synopsis of how that was for me.
I'll say I'll because I already feel like you about to allow on this part. So I'll say how it was for me. Probably some of the best times but worst times of my life.
That's
Probably
exact. That was exactly what I was going to say.
oh okay, good.
It's a learning experience.
Learning experience. Great way
Yes,
to put that.
it was a learning experience. Especially because it was my first year in a completely different environment. Um,
Whole
you know,
different city.
a whole different city, not even to a whole different state. Like
I
I
remember you didn't even know how to take the train. You didn't
don't
know how to take the train.
don't embarrass me like that. Don't put all my business out like that.
Oh, I'm
Okay.
sorry. My bad.
Yeah. Okay, just because I went through the wrong gate that one time doesn't mean you need to put all my business out there like that. But no, it was something else. There is something to be said about like the structure of the school we go to, cuz like part of it is like especially cuz we're in the department that we are in, it's and we're in the field that we're in as artists, a lot of our work is heavily collaborative, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but also it's so competition based, and it's like, you know, we never kind of we at least at first, like, it just kind of felt like this competition, but not enough collaboration. That even when we got to the collaborating parts, it felt like a competition of who could collaborate the best. And it was like,
Yeah,
yeah,
but like so that's why I never looked at our first year as a competition with you all. I always looked at it like, okay, let me try to build as many connections, as many friendships as I can, because I knew as soon as if I looked at it like I was playing sports, I feel like I would have left that first year with no friends
right.
at all.
Ye-
Better results, but just no friends, and I just rather have the people in the relationships.
Yeah, that was something that I struggled with midway through the year because I didn't have friends in our department because I played the first year like it was a sport instead of like trying to make connections, which admittedly I did get good results. Like my acting is like, like I'm good. I'm good at what I do.
You did, but Moya, you dropped the ball so many times for us, though. Like, just as the whole company, you dropped the ball. If if we all say we didn't do an assignment, you didn't do the assignment neither. Just don't turn it in. just, just turn it in next week when we all
You
do
know,
it.
you know, that would be, you know what? You can say that, but at the same time, I wasn't in the group chat until this year.
You,
So whose fault is that?
you,
Whose fault is that?
that's a
Who's gonna tell me I didn't who you guys didn't do the assignment?
that's a valid point. That's
Right.
that's
Yes.
very valid.
That honestly sounds like a you problem.
It is. It was, and we were mad at you for like forever.
Right.
We just kept turning in assignments, and we just kept not doing them. And it wasn't your fault. It was our fault. But we was just mad at you because we couldn't blame ourselves. We just we couldn't. Just
I'm glad you said it. I am so glad you said it.
hey man, this is an honest podcast.
Right.
Honesty.
Honesty is policy.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, the first year is an interesting time. Um Learned a lot about myself though. Even though I didn't learn a lot about everybody else, I learned a lot about myself. Um yeah. Yeah. It was definitely, it just kind of felt like for me, because I didn't make a lot of friends, especially because especially like within our class and especially within like the freshmen, the class of 2023. Like I have a lot of junior friends, but not a lot of sophomore friends now. Um, it's like, you know, oh, wait, where was I going with this? You kind of like you just gotta like you feel like it. What I was going to say is that you feel like it's survival. You know, you're
Yeah.
trying to survive. That's what it felt like because everyone who goes to the school knows the speech. Look to your left, look to your right. The person next to you won't be here in 4 years. And I was like, no, that's not going to be the case for me. I'm going to be here in 4 years. And so I said, regardless of what anybody else does, regardless of what else happens, like this is a family thing. Even like my mother, my parents, like we all have this idea that I must, because all the stuff that we went through to get here can't go to waste. And now that I'm here,
Now you got it. Now your parents moved from New York to DC. You got to finish at this point.
right?
If you don't finish, I'll be mad for them. You got to finish at this point. You don't got no choice. You don't have no other option.
Right. It's because you feel that external pressure from them, but you also feel this internal pressure from yourself, because you want the best, right? One and this is just for anyone who is like, I just think that one, you can't be the best at an art field because there are so many things to be the best at. uh like even when you look at acting as a subject in itself, right? Just the simple act of like let's just talk about taking a monologue, right? There's always going to be someone who's really good at doing a moment before, but really bad at transitions between their beats.
Everyone
Really
has
good at physicalizing in their body, but really bad at using their words or dropping their endings, etc., etc. So there are so many tiny little different things that we're all really good at and really bad at. And so I just feel like, I wanted to be the best, and I wanted to survive. I wanted to do more than survive, but my driving instinct was to get through. And I remember like being told that only half of our company was gonna survive this year, and I was like, okay, that's not me though.
That's
That's not
funny because we made it. We all here.
right. Well, we definitely we made it. We did it, and yeah, yeah. I wish I knew. I kind of wish I knew that like. I kind of wish I knew that it was a lot of intimidation before we got to this point, because I feel like if I did, I would have been more open to you guys, more less competitive with you guys.
Yeah.
uh, but I just felt like constantly attacked. And then there's also this feeling of like being on the outside of a group and like wanting to get into that group, but also, feeling like they hate you, so you hate them back. So then when like later on in the year when I realized I really wanted to have that connection with you guys, I was like, well, it's too late to even try, so let me not even bother. So there was that, but I've come to a realization, you know
What's the
so
realization?
that you can do both. You can do.
Wow. Proud of you. Really am. I'm proud of you. That's a great realization.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I just don't like how that man made it seem like we couldn't do both.
Right, right. He made it seem like we couldn't do both at the beginning of the year, and then at the end of the year told us that we could do both. um it was it was very confusing. Yeah. Actually, though, I would like to have this conversation about the men at our school. Um, there's,
I feel like I know where you're going with this.
I don't think you know where I'm going with this, but you might. No, I think there's this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there's more focus on you, but like in a positive way, in my opinion.
Wow, I
Um,
didn't know where you were
no,
going with that.
like and like disregarding the extra 10 minutes of wall sits you guys had to do.
Hmm.
I feel like a lot of you get more opportunities because there's less of you.
Hmm.
Um, and like not even like I don't want to. It just kind of feels like no, because a lot like Eric, you're really good at what you do. Abdullah is talented. Santiago is talented. All of the guys that I know in our school are really good at what they do. I mean, obviously they wouldn't be there, but so are the women in our school. So are the non-binary people in our school. So are the there are so many other people in our there are people in our school who are good at what they do, and it often feels like they take the cream of the crop of like the girls, right?
Hmm.
And then they take all of the guys to
Yeah,
do.
and I kind of felt that same way when it came to like me working. I felt like no matter what I did, now no matter how hard I tried, I always would be like
Yeah,
the
it,
guy.
yeah. And it's like it's nothing on you. It just kind of feels like I mean, for me, I know I'm solid because I'm good at what I do, but it just kind of feels like for everyone else who isn't, um there is that hidden veiled piece of sexism that is preventing us from seeing girls at our school do more of the women at our school do things because we're trying to get this balance and there's not enough men at our school. But clearly a lot of the guys who auditioned weren't good enough, which is why they aren't here. So I just feel like it's just a little just a it's just a little like it's just a little weird to me that that's.
Okay, well let me challenge you, right? what are some of the opportunities that you want women at our school to have that the men have? Like, what are some of the opportunities and the chances that?
You're so right. Yeah, that is a very valid question. I'm still making my way through my second year,
Mhm.
and obviously I haven't seen it all. It just kind of feels like performance opportunities, like that in general, just performance opportunities in general. Of course, like they want to make it as co-ed as possible, so it's got to be like one guy and one girl. But well, actually, there's just an issue with favoritism, I feel. I benefit from it because I'm a favorite. I worked hard to be the favorite of people because I knew favoritism would be an issue. So I said I'm gonna be good at what I do. Um, there's an issue with favoritism in general, and I do think that there's a lot of. I mean, part of it also has to do with like the work ethic of certain people, but there are certain people in our company who I feel get slept on a lot.
But
Um,
working their ass off.
right. A
Work.
lot of Yeah, people get slept on a lot. Um, and like I said, like I just feel like a lot of the girls, because there are more of us in the department, uh, in our company, get slept on, and a lot of the guys who aren't putting in enough of the work don't get slept on. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
and I can take credit for that. I don't put in half as much work as I know some of the women do in our company and our department, but I'm still like even with our monologues, like I knew I didn't have the best monologue, but I just knew out of the guys, like we didn't really have to work that hard on our monologues. Like
right.
Me and Abdul was talking about our monologues, and I was like, I didn't really work on mine. He was like, I didn't really work on mine either. I was like, whoa, great.
Yeah. And it's like no shade to y'all. It just feels like,
Yeah, no, I feel you.
yeah, it's just easier for you guys sometimes.
No, most of the time.
Yeah, most of it.
Hmm. And do
Um,
you feel like that's a all school thing or just a theater department thing?
well, I cannot speak for the rest of the school, because I don't go to the rest of the school. But I do think that it is a systematic thing. Like that's just a thing that happens regardless. I think our school is special. Like the reasoning for it is special because not as many guys want to go to an art school, to begin with. It's mainly girls auditioning, so like the reasoning for it is a little bit different because like we don't see enough of you anyway, which is why we want to push you to the front as much as possible. But like systematically, throughout, when we look at the state of things and we look at the patriarchy, men have always been more respected than women have, which is why this is also kind of like frustrating just a little bit because it just, but it's a systematic thing, and I don't think it's isolated just to our department or the school. I just think that it's something that happens and we should be more aware about.
You're a writer,
Yes.
one hell of a writer, an amazing writer, one hell of a writer. You let me read some of your stuff before. Phenomenal, great. What is your inspiration for what you write?
Um okay. To be honest, it's a lot of stuff. I have in this most recent phase of my life, most at the moment, social issues. But back in the days where I was in fifth grade and I had no self consciousness, I used to write fan fiction. Not letting y'all know what my account name was, but I love to write fan fiction because I didn't realize like what being a writer meant at the time, but I did like to write fan fiction because I liked getting to know people and characters and stuff. And now I just think I want to write about life and the things people go through and understanding people's perspectives. as an actor, like we are forced to confront other people's perspectives, other people's lives, and I think that uh, being a good actor means knowing how to understand other people's perspectives, and I think it's the same thing for writing, um, and understanding people's lives and all of that. I've been reading a lot of James Baldwin and Audre Lorde, who are solid. Like they are some of the best, some amazing people from the 20th century. And I auditioned with the Amen Corner by James Baldwin, and then I finished reading Blues for Mr. Charlie, and like I've gotten into playwriting recently, and I think that James Baldwin's influence has been with me a lot because like that was the second play I read. Um, I read A Raisin in the Sun first, and I think both of those plays, all of James Baldwin's plays in particular, have been like a challenge. I didn't know that. I came from a middle school where we would do shows like Once on This Island or Mary Poppins or Seussical, and I never realized that they actually like make art that challenges the status quo. And so, yeah, that was something special. Yeah.
Your James Baldwin. I still have your copy of the Amen Corner, by the way. Thank you very much for letting me use it.
No problem.
I'm gonna give that back to you as soon as we get back in school.
Yeah.
But James Baldwin is one of the greats, if not the great. And I can tell by like when you write that you're heavily influenced by black artists, black writers, which is amazing. And I really want to thank you for what you do, for inspiring me, inspiring others. Your work ethic, it's amazing. You're an amazing person, a very cool person. I'm sorry for not liking you in the beginning of the year just because you did all your work and I was lazy.
It's wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I was not expecting that. Yeah. Thank you. Wow.
um, but it's about time to wrap this show up. Do you have any final last words for the people? Anything you have coming? Anything you want to promote?
Okay. Well, a few things. I'm filming this in my mother's store, in my family business. If you need hair products, this is anything from braiding hair to the shampoo to makeup to anything. We have a social media page. I believe we have a website now. I'll drop the name of our beauty supply in the chat so that he can, promote us.
Mhm.
Um buy from us, support us. One thing I would like you to all think about is supporting small black businesses, supporting small businesses, not just black corporations. I think there's a difference between a black corporation and a black business because one of those things is giving to the community and one of those things is taking from the community. So think about that. And before Eric plugs his, you guys should all donate to my March for the Arts page.
Ah! I
Yeah.
wasn't even gonna plug mine.
And depending on when this is posted, for the next upcoming Fridays, we're going to be having some events to support March for the Arts. We're going to be having a Vogue fashion show if you're into that. A We're going to be having a bake off, a bake decorating competition, and then a movie night. And if you have any little siblings, we will also be having a story time, etc. We'll keep you all posted on that. We'll give you all of the information for that. But thank you for having me.
Thank
This
you
was
for coming. Thank you
fun.
so much. This is a great first episode. This went way better than I thought it was gonna go. Guys, you can follow me on Instagram at the Arts Block Podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at Arts Block Pod. Then you can follow my personal Instagram at Eric Curry the Third. This has been the Arts Block Podcast. Remember that artists never die, and I'll see y'all next week.